I'm a street activist as well. I do YouTube, I go out on the streets, I talk to people, I have conversations. I'm not on this planet to judge anybody, by the way, for their choices. I ate more animals for a long time of my life too, so who would I be to shout at or judge anybody? So I just go out onto the streets and I talk to people, and I try to get them to see things from a different perspective. So that's why I'm here today. So we'll watch the film. It's about 8.5, 9 minutes long, and then I'll come back and talk to you after it's over.
In the past, most people found it easy to justify the abuse of animals. It was believed that they were inferior creatures without feeling or intelligence.
Anybody. I'm just here to open a discussion, give you some facts, and perhaps maybe make you see things from a slightly different perspective than you've thought of them before. So, do all of you know what vegan is or what vegan means? Does everybody know or have a rough idea? Do any of you think it's a diet for just food? Because that's a very common perception. No? Well, this is the actual meaning of what being vegan means. Veganism is a philosophy or a way of life which seeks to exclude as far as possible and practicable all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. And in dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all food products that are derived wholly or partly from animals. So that's the full meaning of what it means to be vegan, and try and uncover some of the truths that are pretty much hidden from us from a very, very young age. And this is some of the propaganda and lies that we see from the animal agriculture industries. We are always sold happy eggs and happy males and laughing cows. We never see what actually happens to the animals. The animals are always singing and dancing their way down to the slaughterhouse. And the other side of the coin for the consumer are these things: certified humane, free range, red tractor approved, animal welfare approved, feel good. By choosing RSPCA approved products, you give farm animals a better quality of life. Well, one challenge I'd like to make to you straight off the bat is certified humane. So one thing we will all have heard is humane slaughter. Animals are killed humanely. But if you think about it, that's an oxymoron. It's probably the biggest oxymoron in the English language, because the word humane means benevolence. It means to be kind to, it means to care for somebody. And the word slaughter means to kill somebody in a violent fashion. So those two words do not belong together. All these things here are to make people feel better about the choices that they make when they're buying food products. And this is the image. I'm sure all of you have seen, maybe when you were at primary school, an image like this of a farm. You have the farmer, you have one cow, one pig, one chicken, one sheep probably. And there's never any explanation when you're young about why those animals are there or what's going to happen to them. So why do people choose to go vegan? Well, for me, the reason I choose to go vegan is because of the animals. I'm an animal lover and I do not wish to harm animals. But there's also health benefits. There's also the environment and climate emergency, and also world hunger. And I'm going to cover some of these things with you now for the next 20 minutes or so, and then we've got sausage rolls, plant-based sausage rolls in the oven, and you can try those. So the first one I want to talk to you about is the animals, because for me that is the most important reason. So when we're children, most of us are taught to love some animals. We're taught to love dogs, and we're taught to love cats. And if somebody shoots Harambe, the gorilla, you're supposed to get upset, and bullfighting is bad. If somebody shoots a lion, you're supposed to get upset. But these other animals, the ones that we typically wear and consume, you're taught to draw an arbitrary line. You're not supposed to think about them at all, because we have to eat animal products and we have to wear their skin. And we never ever, most people go through their entire life without ever questioning, you know, do we really need to eat these products, or can we perhaps do something else instead? So what happens to them is hidden from you. you're sold the images of happy animals, but you never ever see, has anybody here ever been in a slaughterhouse? I would guess no, because people don't want you to see what happens to animals when they get there. This little guy here, would anybody think it's okay to eat this little puppy? Is that a weird question? Would anybody eat a dog? No? Well, the reason you wouldn't eat a dog is cultural. It's the story you're told when you are young. Because in many parts of the world, people do eat dogs. So this is Yulin Dog Festival. This is where this picture was taken, where they bring thousands of dogs to a festival, they kill them, and then they cook them, and then they eat them. Now, people here in the UK think, that's really weird. People over there shouldn't be eating dogs. I'm going to sign a petition and I'm going to go to the embassy and protest. But those very same people are eating animals here. So it's just the story you're told when you're young in different countries, that it's okay to eat this animal, it's okay to wear the skin of this animal, but it's not okay, well, it's not okay for us to eat dogs. It's all a story you were told from when you were a young child. But here, we see this as food. We see this little lamb as food. Now, when I look at this little lamb, I see a little baby soul that just wants to live their life in peace and be around the fields with their mum and live a happy life. I don't see lamb chops and I don't see wool. Maybe some of you do. That's okay. And this little guy here, baby pig. Again, do you see bacon here? Or do you see ham? Or do you see a little baby animal that just wants to live their life in peace and not be harmed? So this is, I'm going to tell you quickly about two different types of farming. This is pig farming. This picture was taken here. So we do all that to produce milk for human beings, but if you think about it logically, milk, dairy milk, is for baby cows. You would think it weird if you were to drink donkey milk or horse milk or camel milk, would all be weird. And even as an adult human being, if somebody offered you human milk, you'd think that was really weird and disgusting, but yet somehow we're taught that we have to consume dairy milk, milk that's made for baby calves, for our health. It's kind of weird when you can just drink a plant-based milk instead. So you go into the supermarkets now, like Tesco's, I think, have 10 different types of plant-based milks. You have coconut milk, rice milk, hemp milk, hazelnut milk, almond milk, soy milk. So there's many almond milks and all of them. Like there's 10 different types that you can put in your coffee and put in your cereal. And no animals have to suffer in any way whatsoever. And many people think it's a hard thing to do, to go vegan. And before I went vegan, I thought, oh my goodness, I seen a documentary and I thought, right, I'm going to go vegan, but I don't know what to eat, and it's going to be hard, and I'm going to have to cut all these things out of my diet. And it is literally the easiest thing I've ever done, and it's so easy. Let me try and explain it this way. When you walk into a supermarket and you think, oh, I need milk for my cereal in the morning, and you go to lift a pint of dairy milk, you can literally just turn around in Tesco's or Sainsbury's and pick up a plant-based milk instead. So we are all taught when we're young that you need meat and chicken for protein. And anybody, why are we told you have to consume dairy milk? What do we get from dairy milk? Calcium. Then calcium, yeah. Calcium is a mineral that comes from the ground. It's not something cows produce or have magically in their bodies. So the reason cows have calcium in their milk is because they eat grass and they get it from the ground. So we can easily get enough calcium, just like the cows, by eating green leafy vegetables and coloured greens like broccoli and cabbage and all these things. Gives you longevity. Animal products are a package deal. So yes, you do get protein and calcium from products, but you also get saturated fat, and you get cholesterol, and you get antibiotics that are fed to the animals to keep them alive. So you're ingesting all those things. So the hospitals are not full of vegans there's no ward in the hospital for protein deficient vegans. There's wards in the hospital for diseases of excess, people with heart disease and diabetes and all these things. So if all these guys competing at top level sport can be vegan, every single one of us can be vegan too. Changes. Well, animal agriculture, and this is not my opinion, by the way, this is fact. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of species extinction. It's the leading cause of ocean dead zones, of eutrophication of water pollution, and habitat destruction. I'll just quickly rattle through this bit, and then if you want to ask questions or challenge me, it's completely fine. So, people think it's hard to go vegan, but nowadays there are so many options available. McDonald's are doing a McPlant. It costs the same. I'm led to believe it tastes pretty much exactly the same as the meat version. The Beyond Fried Chicken is vegan at KFC. I haven't eaten chicken in 40 years, so I couldn't tell you what it tastes like now, but people have told me that it tastes exactly the same. You go to Nero or Starbucks, they are all doing vegan options. If you go into Cafe Nero, they have vegan meatballs, sandwiches, croissants, vegan cheesecake, vegan biscuits, vegan chocolate. Loads and loads of options because there are so many vegans around nowadays. So change is happening, and these companies see the change coming and they want to cash in on it. So everywhere you go now, supermarkets, restaurants, coffee shops, there are vegan options absolutely everywhere. Of course, Greggs they started off with a vegan sausage roll, and it was so popular they have now like several vegan options in Greggs, and it's expanding all the time. And of course, the plant-based milks that I told you about earlier, the oat milk in coffee. If you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker, oat milk in coffee tastes really, really good. And the question I always ask people to ask themselves when you're buying a product, so let's say that oat milk in your coffee tastes 10% different than dairy milk in your coffee. Not better, not worse, it just tastes a little different. Well then, what do you value more? A slight taste difference or an animal's life? That's how I make that choice. It's the way to think about it. And of course you can cook for yourselves. Since I went vegan, I eat a very varied diet. I eat whole foods plant-based. Personally, you can be an unhealthy vegan as well if you want. You can eat vegan chocolate and vegan ice cream all day long. I eat whole foods plant-based, so I cook most of my own food. I don't eat a lot of the alternatives. I'm not a saint, I do eat some. But you can make lasagnas and you can make curries. Or you can go into the supermarket and buy plant-based lasagnas and plant-based pizza and burritos and all types of different things. It's all freely available these days. You go into the supermarkets now, like Tesco's and Sainsbury's, there's like 4 or 5 vegan sections of burgers and frozen foods and fresh foods and whatever. So it's not hard. So these are the 4 reasons we consume and wear animal products: habit, tradition, convenience, and taste. I don't think any one of those is a good enough reason to make an animal suffer or to take an animal's life when you don't need to. So the way I look at it is for me personally to be vegan, and being vegan for me means it's non-violence and compassion for all living beings, and that includes human beings as well. For me, just to finish off, animals, they're not chicken nuggets. They are not steaks and burgers. They're not leather jackets and they're not leather shoes. They are not pork and they're not ham, and they're certainly not Sunday dinner or lamb chops. They are living beings who feel pain and suffer and experience life in the same way that we do. And one thing to always remember is it should not be up to us to decide who lives and who dies or who suffers and who doesn't. If you look at it from their perspective, they value their life and their families as much as you value your life and your family. And for that reason, I believe that we should just let them live in peace. So there we go. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hit me.